All right, guys, well, I'm back today with one of the nicest and smoothest shooting 9mm handguns I've had out to the channel in a very long time. This is the SAR K12 Sport X, and it was sent over to the channel at my request because I wanted to review this specific model. I've been purchasing SAR firearms for years now. Every time I see one for a good deal, I'll grab one. I've had a few local shops donate some to the channel for me to try, and here lately I've been working with SAR on a few reviews, and I was really excited to get this one out to the channel. This pistol is truly competing with top tier performers, but at half and a third of the price of the other options on the market. Now, does it stack up? We're going to be talking about that throughout this video, as well as the specs and features and performance down at the range. Before we get too far into it, I want to give a huge shout out to Callaway Ballistics for sending over the 9mm to help make this video. They just did a ton of massive price drops. They also have 147 grain subs, 300 blackout subs, and even 45, 70, and 6.5 Creedmoor ammo. I also have the code 704 Tactical for free shipping on ammo orders over $200, so definitely check these guys out. Now, one of the first things that drew me to this handgun was the fact that it's very similar to the CZ design, meaning the slide rides inside the frame, the ergonomics and controls are almost identical, and it also takes CZ75 mags. In fact, I actually tried a few different CZ75 SP01 tactical mags in this handgun for review. They fit and function perfectly. So in a nutshell, you're getting something like a CZ Shadow single action only for about half the price. But how does it stack up? Spoiler alert, freaking awesome. This handgun is a monster. It's a spec monster, it's a competitive monster, and it works great down at the range. Let's start from the front, work our way to the back, talk about those specs and features and its performance. And the first thing you'll notice is the fact that this does have a target crown on that 4.7-ish length barrel. So overall, the pistol is incredibly well balanced. It's got a steel frame and slide and aluminum grip, so it is a very chunky handgun. So when you're looking at the models, you'll see the K12 Sport X comes in at about 41 ounces. The K12 Sport comes in at 46.9 ounces, and the K12 Compliant comes in at about 41 or 46, depending on the variations you get. So again, a very heavy handgun. But this is not designed to be a concealed carry handgun or a personal defense handgun. It's truly designed to be a competitive, just giant in the industry, but again, half the price of some of the other options on the market. So it's very well balanced in your hand despite the weight, because the weight is evenly distributed, and that really helps absorb the recoil, which we'll talk about in the performance section of this review. After that target crown and the 4.7-inch barrel, it's surrounded by the upper slide, which has nice cocking serrations on the front. If you wanted to do press checks, it actually works out well. A lot of times CZ slides or CZ style slides are very hard to rack the slide or do press checks because the slide is so slim up top, but this one does an amazing job with that texturing, and you can see the action on this is incredibly smooth. The slide also has lightning cuts built in, and that actually reduces a lot of weight in the reciprocating mass, which means less felt recoil back to the end user. A lot of times when you're getting competitive handguns, you want to move the weight from the slide to the frame, and you want to add a lot of weight to the frame, and they have done this balance perfectly. The next thing I want to notice is the target sights themselves. They're a blacked out rear and blacked out front. I think the only way this could be a little bit improved would be maybe some type of paint or something on the front sight, but a minor complaint. It also has anti-glare serrations cut into the top of the slide, which again is perfect for competitive shooting. If the sun hits that on a bright sunny day, these serrations are going to absorb that glare where it doesn't shine back in your eyes, and it also has anti-glare serrations cut in the rear slide itself. Now, moving from the slide to the frame, you'll start to see some very CZ similar controls with this oversized extended safety. It is definitely very tactile. You can feel a detent that it snaps into and a detent that it springs out of. It also has texturing on the shelf, and the shelf is very easy to move. So you can utilize that by riding your thumb over the top and your hands stay out of the way of the rest of the controls. The slide release located on the side right here also has some nice texturing and works out really well. This one has a skeletonized hammer, and it does the job. You can see the beaver tail on this guy is incredibly ergonomic and smooth, and your hand molds right in, protecting yourself from slide bite and hammer bite, and you can see how high of a grip you can get on this handgun. Again, another feature lending in recoil control. The aluminum grips are interesting. They don't feel like a lot of other grips I've used in the past. They look absolutely awesome. They work out great. They add a little weight and they lock up solid. And the fit and finish on this handgun is absolutely spectacular in every single aspect. You have some very nice texturing on the back strap right where your palm is, but none up here, which is perfect because this is the part that kind of interfaces with the web of your hand, and it's a little bit more sensitive, but you do get texturing where you want it on your hand. It also has full texturing on the front strap, making it incredibly nice, and a slightly flared mag well. Now, other variations of this handgun also feature extended mag wells, which will add weight and a little bit ease of use. I would love to try one of those in the future. This one also has an extended mag release, but as mentioned earlier, it actually stays out of the way of your hand so you don't accidentally bump it. But with the simple move of the finger or the thumb, it drops those mags, no problem whatsoever. They drop free, they insert free. It's a good, solid mag well and interface with the user between that mag button, inserting mags, and reloading. Now, I want to make sure it's clear one more time before I show you the single action only trigger. Now, this is a nice feature of this handgun and a feature that lends itself to competitive shooting and not defensive shooting. This is a single action only firearm and it does not have a double action mode. Now, this has a super smooth take up. It hits a defined wall and it keeps that trigger in the almost the kind of lower 1/3 portion of the trigger guard, which is perfect. I wear size large mechanics gloves, and I feel like somebody with larger hands or smaller hands could still operate this trigger at maximum performance. Now, once you hit that defined wall, you have a little bit of take up and a crisp break. The reset on this guy is fairly short, audible, and tactile, followed up by another crisp break. Now, this is where you may get a little bit better trigger with something like the CZ Shadow 2 single action only, or the TS2 or the TS2 Sport, but we are talking about an MSRP of those guys of about $1,600. Street price is a little bit less. Some of the TS2s that have nicer triggers are closer to about an MSRP of $2,000. Again, I've seen these for sub 700 all day. And it's a minor difference in the trigger. But I do want to talk about that. I mean, that is an important detail for competitive shooters, is the trigger. And when I say this is competing with those top tier guns, I'm not just saying that. It truly is, but there are going to be some slight sacrifices made at this price point, but I think they're worth it. And I think after running the trigger, it kind of breaks in a little bit. This has been an amazing gun down at the range. Now, that is pretty much all the specs and features, but how does it perform? Now, we did discuss the trigger, but the recoil impulse on this gun is non-existent. The first time I pulled the trigger on this, I was blown away. I mean, absolutely blown away. This thing just absorbs the recoil and you can rattle off shots as fast as you can pull the trigger. It stays flat, it shoots flat, it transitions easy. There is no sacrifice difference between this and CZs. In fact, this is actually a smoother shooting pistol than a lot of the CZ75s I have. Like even the CZ Shadow 2 that I have, this absorbs the recoil a little bit better. That's saying a lot. That's saying a lot about this handgun. I didn't realize I would like it this much. Like, I knew I would like it, and I knew this would be definitely competing with the big boys, but I was blown away at the quality and performance and the way this shot down at the range. It's well balanced. It was 100% functional with all the 115, 124, and 147 grade ammo I put through it. It fed great. The mag compatibility was great with all the other CZ75 Metgar mags. No issues there. I mean, if you can grab one, especially I've seen a couple of these used for right around the 6 range, like that's awesome. Like when you pick it up and you feel it for the first time, this feels like $1,000 plus handgun, but you are spending a lot less on it. I'm looking at getting one with the extended magwell. I had one in my cart at another online place. It sold out before I could square everything away, but I've fallen in love with this handgun. I absolutely love it. SAR doesn't make junk. They make good quality handguns, and this is a must-have for any competitive shooter who doesn't want to spend well over $1,000. In fact, well under $1,000 is going to get you something that's truly going to compete at almost every level you can think of. This gun is way better than I am at accuracy, performance, and it's just so much fun to shoot down at the range. All the information, as well as linking to my campsite page, to my Patreon page, and places where you can find more information about the channel and what we do, will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.